Hello guys, welcome to 3C Revision tutorial on ICT corrections part 2 for the year June 2021. So the previous video we looked at tax A, which concerns database. Everything was done at tax A. We had our diagram which had the relationship for those of you who wants to follow up the correction for this tax A, you can look at the previous video. So today we're going to be looking at tax B, which is spreadsheet. It goes through for 19 marks altogether. Okay, the question reads as, this tax is based on the workbook named Trans Business. So as you can see from my folder, which was a candidate folder, I had the file called Trans Business, which is the Microsoft Excel file. The workbook contains two worksheets named broker and sales, right? So I had, let me just open my Trans Business. So it had two worksheets named brokers and sales. The first activity there was make a copy of the sales sheet, rename the sheet as e-sales, right? So this is my Trans Business file. So I had my two worksheets, which are the brokers and the sales. Just enlarge it so that it's visible. Okay, I go back to the question. It said, make a copy of the sales sheet, rename the sheet as e-sales. So this is the sales sheet. What I can do is I right click on the sheet tab, then I click on move or copy, right? So they'll ask, what do I want to copy or what do I want to move? I will now click on sales. Then I tick on make a copy. So as I make a copy, you see it comes as sales 2. But they said we should rename this sales as e-sales. So I still right click on the sales tab. Then I click on rename. So I rename as e-sales. Okay, I'm good. I can just position this at the edge. Next activity says, copy data in the cars table from the car sales database. So where is my car sales database? This is the database we had before, right? So this exam was actually, we were supposed to do the tax sequentially, right? Because you had access and I had my table on access, which they require me to copy data from this table. So I continue reading. Copy data in the cars table from the car sales database and paste it in a new sheet in Trans Business. Rename this sheet as cars. So this is my cars table. I double click and I open it. So you want me to copy all of these data inside Excel. So what I can do is either I press Ctrl A, my keyboard shortcut, or I can click at this top. So it selects everything and I right click, then copy. Then I go inside my Excel file and I click on new sheet with this additional icon here. So I click on it, then I simply right click and I paste. So that's it. I can just adjust my columns so that it's visible. I can adjust my columns, making it visible. So I move to the next. They said rename this as cars. So this is sheet 2. I still right click, the same procedure, rename, and I put cars. So I have that already done. Next activity says in e-sales sheet, create a new field in column E named unit price. So the e-sales sheet is e-sales, create a new column, this column E, right? That's column E, named unit price. So this column will be named unit price. Unit price, just adjust. Unit price. Use the lookup function to invoke the unit price from the CAS sheet. You can do a manual insertion if you do not know how to use the lookup function, but it will lead to mark reduction. Write down the formula you have used in cell E7 in the line below. So what do they want us to do? They want us to use a lookup function that is going to bring out the unit price for each of these cars. Remember, we had the cars table. So here we have the cars code and we have their unit price. So we want each of these unit price to appear on this e-sales sheet with respect to their car code, right? So like here we had AB1. So with AB1, the unit price is going to be 2,500,000, right? So as you go to the next CD2, on to CD2, this is CD2, you want your unit price to be 2,300,000. So how do we go about it? We have equal to, use lookup, that's lookup, and just double click. So I have two types of ways I can do this lookup, right? So this is the first way, which needs as input the lookup value, the lookup vector, and then the result vector. And the second way is the lookup value and the array, but here we don't have an array, so we cannot use this method. So in other videos, I'll show you how we can use the array on lookup. Okay, so they're asking which value do I really want to look up? So I need to look up this car code, right? I'll just be clicking on the cells itself. So I want to look up the car code and make sure what separates the first data from the second is a comma. So I just have my comma. Next, it said lookup vector. So what is the lookup vector? So where do I want to look up this car code from? So I go into my cars table. I need to look up this car code from this table. I'll equally know that it is here. So what about the other car codes which I'll have to look up? So this is a table which contains car codes, and I want to look up each code in the e-sales table from this car codes in the cars table. So next, I do a comma, and then they said the result vector. What will I have as a result? So as it looks up this car code, I need the result to be this unit price. So it gives me the unit price from this table, right? So I close my lookup function and I press enter. So you see 2,500,000 appears, right? So we always have that tendency of Excel auto-filling our data. But now you watch. As I want to autofill, Excel knows that if I want to look up this value from A2 to A6, and my result should be from C2 to C6, the next car code which I want to look up will be this actually. So Excel will know that the lookup vector will be now starting from A3 to A7 and your C3 to C7. Let's just watch and see. So I'll show you from here. So this A2 to A6, C2 to C6. So if I drag all the way down, so I have serious problems. So here I have B3, which actually is my lookup value, and the lookup vector is A3 to A7, which is not what we had here. We had instead A2 to A6, and here we had C3 to C7, which we actually had C2 to C6. So what can we do in this case? You can equally put this manually, each and every cell, but you might lose time, right? So we need to do everything and just make sure we do it correctly as well and actually fast. So what I will need to do is to make this lookup array and the result vector absolute, right? I would like to make this absolute. So what I'll do is I'll use the dollar sign, right? So before I am on the lookup vector. So before the cell reference A2 to A6, that's in between the letters, I'll use a dollar sign in between. Use a dollar sign in between A6. So I go to cars and I use C2, and before C I put the dollar sign. Immediately after C I put the dollar sign. The same, the dollar sign and the dollar sign. That's on the first cell which I did my calculation. And press enter, I see that I still have 2.5 million. So I drag this all the way through and I see if I have my change. Okay, you see now that I have my change. So if I click on the second one, I see that my cell reference remains the same. A2 to A6, C2 to C6 till the last, which I still have A2 to A6 and C2 to C6. So this absolute reference tries to make this range of cells like constant. So telling Excel that these cells do not change no matter what happens, because as we drag, Excel wants to autofill and also taking sequentially. So what is changing is just this lookup data, right? So I'm trying to look up this, it changes. So here is B3, is B3, here is B4. That's the only thing that will change. So if you manually fill this, you might not have marks, right? So that's what the equation tells you. So if you do this manually, you might not have marks. Okay. So write down the formula you have used in cell E7 in the line below. So what is E7? This is E7, right? So this is the formula I use. So you can just copy it, write it down inside your question paper. All questions which require an answer, it's good to write it down. So do not forget, because at the end you are going to be submitting this question paper to the board, and all answers are to be written there. That is the formula I use, equal to lookup that. Okay, that's the formula. That's it. Lookup B7. In the cars table, I have A2 to A6. And also my result vector is from C2 to C6. Next activity says create another field in column F named total amount. So another field in column F. This is column F named total amount. Can just resize and increase the size. Total amount. What are they expecting from us here? To calculate the total amount sold by each broker, this field gives the product of the quantity and the unit price. Write down the formula you have used in cell F6 in the line below. So this total amount will give us the product. So it's multiplication, right? The product of the quantity and the unit price. So I have this, the quantity equal to, I can use my function called product. If you want, you can still multiply directly. So I have the product of the first number, the quantity, comma, and then my unit price, and I close, and press enter. So I have that amount, and I drag it all the way through. I have my answers. So which are we copying? The formula in F6. So in F6, F6, F6 I go to my formula bar, right? So the formula appears here. If you are someone who just types in the answers or types in the figures, your formula is not going to appear. Instead, it's the figure that is going to appear, right? So that's the way they can catch you if you have actually done the work. So when you click on each cell, you will see the formula on the formula bar. So I am on F6. So I had the product of C6 and E6. So we'll just go all the way and write down. I have product equals to product of C6 and E6. Next activity says, given that each broker is given 5% of the total amount as bonus, calculate the bonus for each broker in column G. Write down the formula you have used in cell G3 in the line below. So the next is column G. Oh, sorry. So the next is, I will rename this column as bonus. I have bonus. And what is actually, how are we actually calculating this bonus? Given that each broker is given 5% of the total amount as bonus, so it's 5% of this total amount. So what can I do? It means it's 5 divided by 100 times the total amount. But Excel allows me to use percentage and it multiplies it directly. So rather than me putting 5 divided by 100 times the total amount, I put equal to the 5%, as I have said, times the total amount. This total amount, please, we are using cell reference. Do not use the digit inside the cell, because if you go ahead and change the digits in it, it doesn't affect your answer. So it's good to use cell reference to be sure for everything. So I have 5% of this giving me all of this. So it's 5% all through times the total amount. So I have each of these amounts. So we are copying the formula used in cell G3. So this is G3. On my formula bar, I have 5% times F3. So we copy that. 5% times F3. 5% times F3. Okay. Next is create a summary table of the total bonus given in table 2 below. This table 2, this table 2 below. Total bonuses to be given to each broker at the bottom of e-sales table starting at E25. By ordering the table of sales by the broker ID, use an appropriate function to calculate the total bonus to be received by each broker. Copy the total bonus from your spreadsheet into the table below. So we have to reproduce this table inside our e-sales. Then we have to calculate the total bonus for each of these brokers' ID. So first of all, we start by having our table. They have given us a range. You see, our table should start from A25. So I know that this table, this information or this data, which is broker ID and broker name, are found on the broker sheet, right? So I can just copy this broker ID and broker name. Copy. Go back to my e-sales. From A25, I paste. Right? I can adjust my cells. Adjust my cell. And the next cell or the next column here is total bonus. So I can just type total Then the last cell there is total, which is a combination of two cells. So they have merged the cell and it is centered, aligned, and bold. So I have the two last cells which are being merged. I merge center, then bold, giving it total. So I'm going to calculate the total bonus for each of these broker IDs. So I have a column which is bonus, right? And I see that with this bonus, I have the bonus for each broker ID. So C001, I have its bonus here. C001, I still have its bonus here. If I come to C002, C002, I have its bonus. C002, I have its bonus. So they want the total of all of each of their bonuses. So what do I use? I'll use the sum if. So the sum if, it simply adds the cell specified by a condition or criteria. So I will use this little window which Excel provides to me so that it guides us. Now, the sum if adds the cell specified by a given condition. So when we talk of the range is the range of cells you want to evaluate. Right? I want to evaluate this range of cells. It's a broker ID. This range of cells. I want to evaluate this range of cells. Now the criteria is this first criteria from this, right? This range of cells is if it is equal to C001, right? So I'll put the criteria C001. That's the criteria. So I need to pick all the C001s from this column, which is the broker ID. Then the sum range. So once it sees this C001, it picks up the value from here and does the addition, right? So you see it has been done the addition automatically and giving the answer. So the range is the range of cells which I need to evaluate. The criteria is this criteria here, this C001. I want to evaluate this range of cells looking for C001. Then the sum range, if it sees C001 from inside this broker ID column, this first column, it takes the value from the bonus and add. I click on OK. So if that want to do this manually to be sure, I can just do it here as a rough work. Take equal to, I see broker ID C001. I take the bonus plus, I look for where the C001 again, which is this, and I take its value, this plus this. I look for C001, it's not, right? So if I press enter, I have the answer here. So I compare. Is the answer the same? Yes, it's the same. So my working is okay. So what I'll do is you can still put all of these manually, right? Each and every cell, but I want to go a little bit faster by making it absolute, right? So I want to make this absolute. I'll do this absolute reference. So that what I'll change is just the criteria. But if you don't master this method, please, you just do it one by each, right? So absolute, I make it absolute so that what I can be changing is just the criteria. So the answer, and as I drag everywhere is going to actually be 43,000. So I come to the second broker ID, which is C002. I change this to 02, and I have its answer. Yes. 3003. I have its answer. Next, C004. I have its answer. Next, C005. Next, C006. C006. Next, C007. Next, C008. Next, C009. Next C010. Okay, I have that. I repeat, if you don't master this method of putting absolute value and going rapidly, or to be sure, just do it one by each and do your sum if as many times as possible for all the cells. So the total here will be calculated as equal to the sum of all of these from C2 to C26 to C35. Plus, I have the total for all the bonuses. So they are asking us to fill out the total bonus for each of these. So what I'll do is I'll just copy for each, copy the data. So this is 130,000. It's right here at 1,000. Next, we'll just reduce it, reduce the size. This one is X. So you have to copy the answers inside your paper or your answer sheet. Also take your time while writing. I can't do a correct solution and copy wrong answer. So you take your time while filling this out. C009. C0107. 15 my total. Okay, I have that. Make sure when you're working, try to be saving, right? Try to be saving your work as you are moving to avoid problems if there is no light. So they said write down the formula you have used to calculate total bonus for the following. Ashupita. So Ashupita, this is the formula for my formula bar. I copy that and I write it out. Yeah. Write it out there. So I don't actually need this reference, this absolute value, sorry. But in my working is there, right? So it's not really a big deal. I go to Bernard. This is Bernard. I copy the formula and I write it out on the space provided. Bernard, can still be there. 7 says insert all borders in the range A1 to G23. So I look for A1. I'm done with this. So I look for A1 up to G23. Go to borders, all borders. So I insert all the borders. Save, just to make sure. It says format the range E2 to G23 to 1000 separator and 0 decimal places. E2 G23. So I have E2 is E2 up to G23. So I right click. When I've selected all of this range of cells, I right click and I click on select format cells. Format cells, then I can go down to numbers because all of them are numbers. So I see use 1000 separators and 0 decimal place. So I have 0 decimal place, and then I have my 1000 separators there. What you can do is you can see right click, and this is 1000 separators. So if you click 1000, if I click here, it goes right. Once you have hashtags that appear like this, it simply means the size of the cells are really small to contain the data. So what you can do is just to increase the size of the cells, and you have them. So I can click, and my 1000 separators are there already. So I can reduce my decimal places from here, decrease decimal place, right? Decrease decimal place or increase decimal place depending on, or you can still do the same method by right clicking and going to format cells and clicking on number, and you see use 1000 separators, you tick, and then 0 decimal places. So next is a print the e-sales sheet. So once you're done, you save, then you can print your e-sales sheet by printing just this e-sales. Okay, we've come to the end of tax B, right, or tax 2 for this the one of A-level ICT 2021 paper 3. So you can get the file from the link below or from our GC revision website or Kawlo series, Kawlo application. So if you have any question, you can see ask us on Kawlo, or you can see comment on this video, or you can contact us directly. So I'll leave the links for the various access of the file, the web application, and the Android application. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and also hit the notification bar for more notification of different tutorials which are going to be done. Okay.